Welcome to Hubert's Crime World. Everyday new episode. We got an infant been disposed of. Seems as though it's dead. You realize that you were pregnant, set in stone. Without a doubt, for a total truth. No, I didn't know, totally emphatically. You understand that, we have your PC, that is not my P. See, I didn't actually have a lot of worry for the child. I was more worried about my well-being and dealing with myself. Then they turned over like pictures, and I truly trust they're making an effort not to show picture. Is in that frame of mind here, while a sickening revelation is found in a garbage sack. Outside, a sorority house at Muskingum College doubt falls on a youthful undergrad, a specialist jump into reality behind the grim find disrupting proof. Starts to arise, passing on them to address. Is the suspect telling every bit of relevant information, or is there more going on than she's persuading them to think? Cues, he let me know the main thing truly is who, do they accept me, or the corner subtleties of the chilling episode that occurred on Wednesday, April 22, 2015, in New Vanquished, Ohio State. Are to arise in a discussion recorded between the understudy Emily and her mom Sandra. Anybody thump at the entryway. Better believe it's someone attempted to get in the restroom and thump at the entryway, yet there was no solid at all. The entryway was locked. They couldn't get in. No one addressed. For what reason do I not have a clue about any of it? Since you were. It started when Emily's sorority sisters found a firmly hitched garbage sack leaning against the side of the house. They tore it open, revealing an unnerving scene that will, before long, send shockwaves through the whole local area. Hello, it's Tim, College PD. I'm going to need you to send a delegate here to 125 Lakeside U. We got an infant. It's been disposed of. Seems as though it's dead. Okay, this approached the way too. That's right, thanks. By police immediately showed up at the sorority house where 12 young ladies resided while going to the close-by college. While it was hazy at the time, what directed observers toward one explicit occupant. Everybody trusted the mother of the kid to be 20-year-old Emily Weaver. Criminal investigator Todd May from the Muskingum Region Set. Sheriff's office led a concise cross-examination with Emily reporting their trade. At first, Emily denied having a child, yet confronted with the way that DNA proof could associate them, she conceded the kid was hers, with the expectations of uncovering how such a horrendous misfortune might have happened. The investigator returns the next day to address Emily by and by. Anyway, little could set up the analyst for the stunning bits of insight he'll before long advance as their discussion unfurls. When I originally come here yesterday, and we initially met you, you lied at first about being pregnant. Yes, and afterward you wound up conceding that you happened the previous morning, without a doubt, like you having a child. Obviously you were pregnant. Did anyone have some familiarity with that? Enlighten me concerning that. No, nobody had some awareness of that. Now you let me know that there was reports, definitely in light of the fact that I didn't step through an examination or anything. Anyway, it would later be uncovered that Emily took a pregnancy test at the college's well-being place. They would contact Emily, trying to share the positive outcomes, yet their calls, messages would go unanswered, making one wonder, did she essentially miss the messages, or did she decide to disregard them? The responses start to uncover themselves in a progression of instant messages, later uncovered among Emily and her ex Logan. On spring 18th, 1 month preceding conceiving an offspring, Emily messages, I don't have any idea what to do other than stay quiet about it, and I haven't enlightened anybody regarding what is happening yet. It's getting harder to stay silent about Emily. Tells Logan they need to discuss what is happening there. Therein she blames him for carrying on as though nothing's continuing, saying he has no outcomes. Well, enlighten me regarding a portion of the rumors. Well, fundamentally, I just heard it coming from one young lady saying it coos, like my roommate was like conversing with somebody, and he said it was raised, and a portion of her story sisters have brought it up, yet like I've just like heard it come from that For what reason didn't you believe anybody should realize that you were pregnant? I didn't precisely be aware in a warm trade on April 17th, only 5 days prior to conceiving an offspring. Emily blames Logan for beginning a conflict by telling others, showing that both of them might not have been the specific ones who realized you didn't realize you were pregnant. Now you were showing, I put on weight. Not an extreme sum, but rather, when did you quit having a pairing after August? However, I was as yet, like spotting like all through as per analyst May's notes from the day earlier. Emily additionally guaranteed she had no noticeable stretch checks and encountered no queasiness side effects, typically demonstrative of pregnancy. Yet in view of a pen about a child's nursery arrangement she saved money on, her virtual entertainment account, and the message she shipped off Logan, it's reasonable she knew of her circumstance, and I would rather not beat up about this yet. You realize that you were pregnant, set in stone without a doubt, for complete truth. No, I didn't know, totally emphatically Emily tells Logan. I simply don't have any idea how to manage what is happening, to which he proposes she go to act. Center her reaction, I'm 7 months conflicts with her cases, that she had no clue she was pregnant, as the criminal investigator stands up to her about this information. She keeps on offering dubious response. Says, you thought you were pregnant. It entered my thoughts, yet I didn't. Okay, and that is the very thing that you said the previous evening. You said it enter your thoughts. And I said, how could it enter your thoughts? And you expressed out loud, whatever do you recollect you told me, since you put on weight somewhat yet nothing critical. I don't really accept that you went into the restroom and had this child, and it was a finished shock that is false. Is it what that when you went to the washroom and had this child, it's like goodness my golly, I didn't realize I was pregnant. Non't I imply that is unreasonable? Definitely. I didn't expect. I planned to have a youngster not too far off. Anyway, disturbing signs, including Emily's hunt history, hint that she might not have been as oblivious in regards to her circumstance as she believes that the analyst should accept, albeit no part of this actually makes sense of what truly befell the child. Have you looked into things on your PC on the web concerning covering a pregnancy disguise to conceal that you are pregnant? No. Have you looked into things on the web concerning, I don't have the foggiest idea how you pregnancy to end a Nancy, definitely things up on the most proficient method to end a pregnancy, or no doubt if it descended like okay, and the greater part of it resembled fetus removal. It's generally all I like seeing. I checked out anyway. Emily might have more than considered the thought, as is uncovered in a message trade on April 17th, only 5 days prior to conceiving an offspring. Logan sends out message to Emily, which peruses you ought to have figured it out when I advised you to. In Emily's room, examiners revealed a surprising new hint, yet finding a straight solution concerning her goals would be no stake. Imple errand, the pills that were found in your room, what were they? Called goodness like dark tree. Is it dark cohoes? Definitely are those pills to prompt an early work or to end a pregnancy. I believe there's like choices, yet I haven't seen them in some time. Okay, so those pills really do that? Yes, whether or not she knew from the beginning or was genuinely uninformed, her choice to conceal reality once work started brings up upsetting issues. What was happening before the birth, I just felt like an awkward torment. Resembles what you got, is that what you had was an awkward aggravation? Better believe it wasn't anything like serious. It wasn't, as I barely cared about it. And afterward, where was it at? Where was at my room? Like in my bed? No, I intend what was the aggravation that on you? Goodness, very much like stomach air. You like not at all like look, they wasn't low or anything. It was very much like my stomach. And afterward, I like idea I had the stomach bug, cuz then I went to the restroom and I kept like I crapped a great deal and like the stomach been going near and like one of my homes had it. I was like, well, perhaps that is exactly what it is, thus similar to I would just crap and Then I just easy going down. I barely cared about it, similar to rested in and out over the course of the evening. And there resembles, later on, there resembles a more like sharp, heavier aggravation that was let down, and I went ground floor like I said in light of the fact that I didn't assuming. It was the stomach influenza, 8 goes of higher up, as I would have rather not been infectious. I would get it, so I calculated that would be the best spot to go in light of the fact that it'd be the most straightforward to like. Don't go like the confirmation that upwards of 8 different young ladies were dozing higher up while she conceived an offspring brings up concerning issues about nobody hearing a sound or hurrying ground floor anyway. This actually didn't start to expose what's underneath as a dismal inquiry will. Before long cloud the whole case. So then what happened? And afterward, I just stayed there, and afterward, out of nowhere, like I just felt like a ARI, in like weighty strain child emerged. And where are you at? In the little washroom. Like, say, on the latrine. Okay, not really good or bad. You feel this tension and you said the child comes out. Did you shout? Could you at any point depict how it emerged? Furthermore, and what it resembled? I didn't shout like I resembled quiet regarding it, since I could have done without believe anybody should like wake up or be concerned, so like it truly it wasn't similar to got terribly excruciating, like whether individuals here, like it wasn't it. Harmed a smidgen, yet it wasn't similar to that terrible. So I didn't actually shout like I could have like been breathing somewhat heavier yet. There's nothing else to it. Not really good or bad. When the car Hild came out, where did the child go? In a discussion with her mom later, the two implied the chance of upsetting visual proof being seen by others. I truly trust they're making an effort not to show pictures in the court. I have an inclination they are okay depict to me. The child's situation and latrine, I resembled laying like down. I'm almost certain like I think there was like paper towels like in the latrine. It was on top of it, resembled this space, like it was laying, however like it wasn't similar to turned in the water, you understand. What I mean, it resembled fences confronting her towards, and the child was conceived alive definitely on April 22 and at 7:12 p.m. Not long before the police showed up, Emily sent the accompanying sickening message to Logan. No more child dealt with. As Logan requests to understand what happened, messaging, I need to know how you killed my kid. She states I started giving birth the previous evening for 6 hours. It was a young lady with your dull hair, adding she didn't make it because of placenta entanglements anyway. A later stunning confirmation by Emily might propose the fact of the matter isn't so straightforward and more regret table than the investigator might have envisioned. As Emily proceeds with her frightening record, she tells them analyst the child was making slight developments, however, was not crying all through her disrupting account. She never specifies experiencing other family individuals or hearing a thump at the restroom entryway, as the call with her mother had proposed. I don't recollect any of this stuff. They said there was no strong at all. There was no you. There was no child. There was no nothing. Whether somebody might have stood right external the entryway, unwittingly with an earshot of what was occurring inside, stays unanswered as no observers have approached for the present. The grievous disclosure that the child was conceived alive brings up alarming issues about her passing and upsetting opportunities for what might have occurred next. After I attempted to stop some of bleeding, I attempted to keep an eye on the child, and it was very much like it truly wasn't similar to doing, it wasn't doing anything now. How could you attempt and check? I surmise I very much look, didn't it wasn't okay. So you said you removed the child from the latrine and laid it where very much on the ground, in spite of the fact that Emily's story might be genuine. It appears to be the investigator is hesitant to trust her, and maybe thinking that she's saved portion, a hazier truth, and we discussed this the previous evening, and I cleared up for you that the pathologist will be ready to tell definitely the reason for death on the kid, And did you do anything genuinely to know? I didn't do genuinely. Clearly I didn't do much at all. I was more worried about Investigator Me's notes, uncover that Emily communicated concern, expressing, "I don't believe." This should seem like I deliberately killed the youngster. When inquired as to whether she gagged the child, she replied, "It's basically impossible that I might really understand something to that effect." However, Emily remains by her story. A post-mortem report will later reveal insight into this lamentable secret. For the present, the criminal investigator moves the discussion to what Emily did next. Subsequent to conceiving an offspring, she momentarily makes sense of that she laid in bed working now and again through minor stomach ache torments until around 400 p.m. in the early evening. So then my flatmate resembled, "Well, what is it that you believe should accomplish for supper? And who was that POK I was?" As I don't actually know, so then we just chose to go to McDonald's at the air terminal. McDonald's. So how has everything turned out with you? No doubt. Felt fine. Went to our rooms, stayed there, ate it. Then I showered. All that felt fine. I felt fine. So after I showered, I got on the PC. I began composing. I had a show due today. So I began my aching. It happened, and I gazed nothing upward about the circumstance on the PC. So I don't you can gaze that upward yet. I looked nothing into on the PC. I just did my show, and afterward, that is the point at which I appeared and came higher up and inquired as to whether I was all right in the event that I felt fine. I said okay. And that is when everybody, like the police division here, came up. How Emily managed the kid following the birth will before long become exposed in her own nerve-wracking confirmation. I need you to ponder this. You realize that there will be a dissection on her map. Also, I realize we've went over this, and I have your responses to those inquiries. On the off chance that any of that is false, everything you said to me, I want to hear that from you, since it will look much better on you assuming we hear it from you, as opposed to hear it from the specialist. Definitely assuming I was going purposefully it. I feel like I would have knock its head up and just let it suffocate. You know what I imply. That is all there is to. It was like I intentionally caused her with my child. You attempt and keep her alive? I never really kept. He let me know descending is going. To who do they accept, me or the coroner? As police show up nearby and start to address Emily, Logan sends a terrified message. Perusing, how did you respond when asked what happened promptly following the birth? Emily starts relating her activities. Subsequent to conceiving an offspring, she depicts going to the kitchen and getting back with a blade, which she used to cut the umbilical rope. Emily strikingly describes the child's last developments prior to guaranteeing they shut down altogether a while later. She concedes she discarded the child's body and other proof in a dark garbage sack. Emily then, at that point, sat down on the lounge chair for around 15 minutes, leaving the garbage sack on the restroom floor. Then after that, once I felt like I could walk, I went out, and I went outdoors, and I sat it spot on by the house, like it was rubbish day, like I might have took it to garbage cans, like the junk had gone out, or everything, except I just stayed there. And I returned, and I was all the while losing blood. So I very much like playing Ike on the love seat. Okay, let me ask you this, for what valid reason did you just put her just external the entryway? Also, not elsewhere. I simply didn't realize as I would have rather not loved travel, as I would have rather not. I would have rather not tossed her in the garbage can, for the trash individuals, to toss in the garbage bin. So at one point I pondered covering her, yet I would have rather not enjoyed remove her and afterward, cause I wasn't in I felt the most secure position yet, cause I was setting down, and I was all the while losing blood. So I was well, perhaps I want to go in the event that something doesn't stop soon. However, at that point, leisurely began set me down. Presently, for what reason didn't you call 911? I mean, I presumably ought to have, yet I simply didn't approve. Feel like there was to do. I thought the child was gone. However, we might in all likelihood never understand what Emily had been thinking. Rising strains among Emily and Logan shed a sickening light on the circumstance that foreshadowed the shocking occasions that would before long follow. While blaming Emily for drinking all through her pregnancy, he tells her she should kill it in spite of Emily's terrible confirmations. The implicating messages examiners actually have no obvious evidence of precisely exact thing happened to the child anyway. The coroner's report will, before long, uncover nerve-wracking insights concerning the kid's grievous demise. For the present, it seems like the investigator is looking for any indication of regret from Emily as he poses her one last inquiry. Might you at any point summarize this with how you feel about this want to resemble rewind circumstance? I surmise. Could you at any point say, might you at any point shout out, only a tad bit, I wish it was like you could return, and I might it have like called 911, yet I didn't, so with enough proof to accuse Emily of a wrongdoing she's taken to imprison with a bond set for $1 million, while in the slammer discussions with her mother Sandra go on as Emily faces a basic choice to effectively defend herself. I need to go to court at 2:30. Okay. I either need to require 15 years or go to preliminary. The proc just came at me and resembled, well, we will drop your, in the event that you argue out to this, we will drop your to altering proof charges since you've been great while you've been in prison. Yet he said it comes down to you knowing this end. I a time about it, having discussions about it, and it simply looks that on you, so go to preliminary. You think this is a decent choice. I believe it's your most ideal choice. Okay, all I can perceive you to do is ask about it. Okay, set out to take the case to preliminary. Sandra uncovers their lawyer system to give Emily a positive picture. Before the jury, he was letting me know that I'm making sense of gracious. I really want to get you around 4 outfits together, and I want you to look youthful, dislike a sister, moderate youthful look. Oaking but dislike, a religious recluse. He expressed nothing about cosmetics or be very much blameworthy, consistently, on July 29, 2015 later. Declining the 18E argue bargain, 20-year-old Emily Weaver argued not blameworthy by reason of madness. However, her rationale stays hazy. The protection contended she might have been experiencing a dissociative episode due to having an unperceived pregnancy. In an explanation by Emily, she made sense of I didn't recognize it as a person, adding, I wasn't partner it as a child. It was an it at the preliminary. The staggering reality of what befell the kid was at last uncovered by, to the dissection the coroner near closed. The child passed on from it. Asphyxiation on May 13, 2016. A jury viewed as her at fault for exasperated murder, maltreatment of a cadaver, and 2 counts of altering proof. Emily Weaver was condemned to existence without the chance of parole anyway. In December 2022, the case was returned after an allure contended that her lifelong incarceration didn't precisely mirror the idea of the wrongdoing, and that her discipline was not reliable with comparable cases. In November 2023, Emily was sentenced to existence with the chain C of parole following 20 years. She's right now imprisoned at the Dayton Restorative Establishment in Ohio, where she will be qualified for parole in 2035.